So we're going to talk about the backpack. All right. It's the backpack for you guys. We're going to kick this thing off by talking about the first things first with the backpack.
Hey, Russ, who are you?
Oh, okay. I'm Russ Hockenberry. I'm a Zone 3 Digital Innovation Leader. So I work with Zone 3 elementary schools. Think the eastern end of the county. Schools like Low and St. Matthews and Tully and Field and Stouffer and Norton Commons and that kind of stuff. So I'm a Zone 3 Digital Innovation Leader, and then I'm joined by Kathleen Receiver, who's the Zone 2 Digital Innovation Leader. And then my partner, Steve Durham, who also works with Zone 3. And so we launched this backpack, 3 or 4 years ago, Kathleen, with K through 12 schools. Yep. And so kids have been using the backpack for 3 or 4 years now. And just want to give you one thing first that we have to know right off for this backpack to work for your students. So in order for this backpack to work for your students, students must log in and accept the terms of service to activate their JCPS backpack, okay? So it's not enough for you as the teacher to log into the backpack and see Jimmy Smith's name pop up on your roster and then to put something in his Jimmy Smith's backpack. Jimmy Smith has to log into Google with his email address and password, and then hit the accept button on the terms of use for his backpack to work correctly. If that does not happen, what we found is when teachers go to add something to a student's backpack, you get what's known as the spinning wheel of death, where it just spins and spins and spins and spins and spins, and then nothing else ever happens. So just know that before you do any of the stuff that we talk about today, make sure the students you're using the backpack with, that they have logged into Google with their JCPS email address and password, and then gone to their backpack and accepted their the terms of service. Okay.
Hey, Russ, we have a good question, Natalie, in the chat. So yes, you as the teacher you can help with that. Yes.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, you as the teacher or the parent, yes, the parent can absolutely help with this as well. So with that being said, we're going to talk about the first thing you would need to do with the backpack when you talk about the JCPS backpack. That is, you have to navigate the Google Classroom, because the JCPS backpack is built off of Google Classroom, okay? So it takes all of its rosters from Google Classroom. And we know that Google Classroom over the past 2 to 3 years has taken its rosters from where? Infinite Campus, right? So Infinite Campus builds rosters into Google Classroom. And then the backpack then takes those rosters from Google Classroom and rosters into the backpack, okay? So what you'll need to do is, if you've not visited your Google Classroom this school year, which you likely have, but if you have not, you're going to need to go to Google Classroom at some point, and you'll need to accept your rosters that have been created for you by Infinite Campus, okay? Because that's important, because when you accept those rosters, that enables them to be rostered into Google Classroom and then later on put into your backpack, okay? So we always tell people to accept all rosters that they see. Do not hit decline. So if you hit decline, it just creates more work later for our IT folks. So always accept, don't decline. And so then from there, what you would do is you would import those rosters via the waffle or backpack.jcps.me. So if you ever need to get to the backpack quickly, the web address that you'll use is backpack.jcps.me. And you can also access the waffle through or access the backpack through the waffle. So just like in all things Google or anything these days, there's more than one way to do this, okay, to get to the backpack. The first way is through the waffle, and you see the 9 grid squares up there, and then scrolling down and click on the backpack icon, or going to backpack.jcps.me. All right.
And a lot of the important things that the district puts out, Russ, is also, you can also find it in the quick links on your browser bar.
That's a good point. Yeah, the quick links is actually in the top left-hand corner of your screen.
Yep.
You would see quick links, and you can get the backpack from there as well. So again, there's at least 3 ways to get there. So once you would go to your backpack, remember we're pretending that we clicked on the waffle and went to backpack or backpack.jcbs.me. You can import rosters to the backpack by pressing the plus sign and then adding rosters from Google Classroom. So you would import those rosters from Google Classroom, because what's happened is if you don't import those rosters, you'll go to your backpack and you'll click on rosters and you'll see nothing there. Okay. So you have to import from Google Classroom, and it'll bring up, it's like, what rosters do you want to import from Google Classroom? Well, then you've got all of your classes there that are in Classroom that you can import to the backpack. Then once you do that, you will see a class that's linked. You'll see all your classes that have been imported to the backpack. So here's all those classes that have been hypothetically linked into the backpack now. And so this backpack is now ready for a student to click on any of the, or a teacher to click on any of these rosters and then see their roster of kids for that class. Okay. So if they click on it, they will see a roster of kids. And so let's just kind of look here at what that would look like in real life. So I've got slides there, but so let's just go to my backpack as a JCBS teacher. You would do this exact same way. So if I'm going to this backpack through the waffle, I can scroll down until I see the backpack icon, and I can click on backpack, or like Kathleen said, JCBS quick links, backpack. And then here's my rosters there. There's my rosters. So if I click on the rosters, there are the classes that have been imported from my Google Classrooms. Okay. And then if I needed to import more classrooms, I could just go to the plus here and say import from Google Classroom and then choose a class to import. But so this is a classroom here that has been imported. So let's take a look at this classroom. And this is actually a kindergarten classroom from a couple years ago. So that's why these students don't have anything in their backpacks this year. But so this is actually from a couple years ago. But yeah, so this is just my roster of kids here that I've got for my my classroom in the backpack. Okay. And so now we'll talk about how do we actually get a backpack artifact into a student's backpack. All right. And so you guys are going to have iPads. Is that correct, Kathleen?
Yes. And before you do that, Russ, I'm going to stop you for 1 second and let their brains process for a minute. We got a couple of questions. Should we import the rosters today? So that's a good question. I would watch Russ for right now because you are going to have the presentation with the instructions.
Yes.
So you may want to listen and watch now, but if you're a multitasker, just go for it. We are asking that you will have these rosters created by the next time we meet. Okay, so the next time we meet, we want these to be created. It really is just a 5-minute process.
It's
no big deal. Actually, I can stay on for a little bit when we're done here if you wanted to do that. But so that's a good question. And then right now we're just teaching you about the backpack, and then we're gonna do like some Q&A in December. And then I think December 17th, you're actually going to be trained by, we have someone from Apple coming to train you all on using the iPad. She's awesome. Her name's Brittany. So to kind of teach you how to use the iPads that you are receiving as part of this pilot. So congratulations. Yes, Russ, they are. Everyone here today is receiving a brand new iPad that Early Childhood has purchased for you. And they're getting those already right now. And then we will hand them out when Brittany comes on the 17th. So very exciting.
All right. So Andrea asked, where and when will the backpack show up on our Google classrooms? So the backpack it's in your waffle. The backpack is in your waffle. As far as Google Classrooms go, your Google Classroom should have been created by Infinite Campus at the beginning of the year. So when you go to Google Classroom, also through the waffle, you should see a list of classes there that say accept or deny. And you may have accepted those without even really remembering. So I would just go to your Google Classroom later on and check and see what classes you have there. and see if you have your roster of kids for this year and see if it's accurate.
And I
then
think many of you probably did that last year, right? I think many of you probably did it. Some of you used it last year. I know. Yeah, with NTI. Yeah.
Yep. So let's talk about uploading backpack artifacts. So how do we actually get something into a kid's backpack? Okay. In this presentation, which hopefully Kathleen or Steven's copying that presentation link and sending it out throughout in case we have latecomers. We've got a couple videos for you that we made last year about uploading backpack artifacts that will help you remember stuff that's maybe if this presentation you need a supplement to this presentation. So there's some videos there for you, and they're included in this presentation. Let's get out of that. But let's talk about if you've got an iPad or an iPhone. This is how you can upload artifacts really easily to the backpack for students. Okay. So step one on an iPad would be to open Safari. Okay. So you would open Safari or Chrome if you've got the Google Chrome app on your iPad.
And they will.
Perfect. So just so Safari and Chrome are both internet browsers. They do the same thing. And then you would go to backpack.jcps.me, which is that backpack web address. And just like on a Chromebook, you would see the same kind of interface there with rosters and dashboards and teacher backpack. And then you would press rosters. Okay. Then from there, just like we were talking about with your classes, you would choose your desired class roster. Okay, so if I click on that, if I were to click on that classroom, I would see my list of kids. And so I've got my list of kids there in this classroom. And so I could then click on the student's name who I wish to upload an artifact for. So let's say I was wanting to upload an artifact for Isabella. All right, so if I click on Isabella's name, this is what's going to show me. It's going to bring up this little thing here with all the backpack skills, and it's going to say add. And so if I click on add, I have the opportunity to either add from my Google Drive or add a file. Now, here's where it's really cool about having an iPad or an iPhone and using it with the backpack. If you choose file, you have the option to take a photo or video right there and put it into the backpack. So let's say Isabella's working on something in a center and she's built this amazing Lego creation. And they're like, oh man, Isabella, this would be great to go in your backpack. You bring up Isabella's name, you click add, you hit file, and you say take photo or video. You take a picture of Isabella's Lego creation right then and there, and it goes into the backpack automatically. So you don't even have to have taken this photo earlier. You can take it right there, then on the spot, and it goes into the backpack. You cannot do that on a Chromebook, okay? You don't have that option. But you do have that option for iPads.
Which is one of the many reasons why we told Rena and team that it would be great to get those for you all. It just makes it a little bit easier for taking pictures and videos, because we know the rules with early childhood currently, and sometimes it might be better. It is better for a little one to, what they're writing and drawing or doing. So really great. Russ, we have one question I just wanted to mention to everyone in the chat. Andrea asked, if I import my roster from Google Classroom, will it continuously update with new students as they are added to my class or leave my class? And the answer is yes. The backpack syncs with Infinite Campus every 24 to 48 hours. So you have a child leave or come in. That's why it's really important to use those Google Classrooms that were provisioned or created for you in the beginning of the year through Infinite Campus. You don't want to create your own Google Classroom. You want to make sure, like Russ showed you, you've accepted one of the provisioned with a really weird long name Google Classes that has all of your students in, and you import those.
Yes, exactly. So uploading artifacts on a Chromebook, perhaps some of you might have a Chromebook that you're using there. It's a little bit different, but it kind of is, it's kind of the same, except for it doesn't have that take photo or video thing on the file. And so we've got steps on there for you as well. So where you could just basically go to your Google Drive and Waffle and Backpack and so this is basically what it would look like for on a Chromebook. And honestly, this looks like more from the student perspective. I think Becca put this in from the student perspective. The steps are still the same, only where yours would say rosters, students' backpacks would say artifacts. Okay, so just beware of that. Okay, so you've got in this present. So let's just kind of do that in real life again, real time as well. So I've got pictures there. Let's go over that in real life. If I were to add something to a student's backpack, I'm in my backpack again, loading that student roster. And I've got my student here. I want to add to their backpack. And I can go add. And now I'll show you right now, I'm on a MacBook. And so if I click on file and I go select files from your device, it's looking for files from my computer. Okay. So again, you're very lucky that you're going to have iPads because you can just take a photo right there and put it in there. So what I would want to do is probably, if I were on a Chromebook, is go from my Google Drive and add from Google Drive. And let's say that this was something that Isabella created. And I put it in there like this.
She took a really good picture of that cardinal.
Yeah, exactly. And so then from there, once I selected an artifact, I can select which skills it meets. So, maybe she's an effective communicator because she's getting out this information to the district. And then she collaborated. She worked with somebody else on this. All right. And so it's important to know that backpack artifacts can hit more than one skill. And so once I've selected the skills that this meets, I can hit OK. And it's going to throw that backpack artifact into that student's backpack. Okay. And then from there, what would happen is these numbers would change. Okay. And so if I selected effective communicator and I selected productive collaborator, those would change from 1 to 1. And I'm not sure why that's not updating right now, but what do you have any idea what that might be?
Yeah, maybe because either that student, this is an older primary classroom from several years ago, so it could be something with syncing. She may not even be in JCPS anymore. There could be a couple of different things, but we wanted to make sure you had a live view of that. Yes. And then also too, when you look at the attached tags, so there is an artifact here right now, the Where I'm From poem. If you forget to do those tags, you could go in later for your student and help with that. And there's
I'm
more.
sorry to interrupt. I have a quick question about those tags. And I think it pertains to all preschool teachers. So we have our work sampling, so it doesn't exactly match what you all have on there. And we have to, so will ours be the work sampling stuff that we have to do, or will it be what this is appearing like?
You mean as far as when you tag them? Like
pretty much like you all have emerging innovator, globally and culturally competent citizen. We don't have that stuff. Our work sampling is more language and literacy, mathematical skills, scientific thinking.
Right. I'm going to interrupt if you don't mind. I'm Diane Robertson.
Hi, Diane.
Supervisor for school readiness. And we're actually, Deborah, creating a training to show you how the work sampling and actually Big Day can fit into those success skills for the backpack. So don't worry about that. We've got you covered.
Yeah, because you'll be seeing these. These are the tags you will see in your backpack. These are the backpack success skills. So, like Kathleen said, if you forget to tag the artifact, you can always hit attach tags, then go back and re-tag those things later. See there you see right there for this one, it updated the numbers. So 1 and 1 there for this artifact. Okay, and actually you have a visual down here too. It shows that this is the emerging innovator tag, and this is a purple productive collaborator tag. So that's good to know. Now, one question that always comes up, particularly in kindergarten and now probably going to be pre-K as well, is can I upload one artifact into every kid's backpack? So what people they want to be able to do this. They want to be able to click this button and go, you know what? I've got a picture of my whole class doing something, and I want to put it into their backpacks under Effective Communicator. Can I just do that in one shot? And the answer is no. It doesn't work that way. Unfortunately, you have to go kid by kid when you're uploading backpack artifacts. So you would have to upload something in Isabella's backpack, and then upload something in the Leia's backpack, and then Bennett's backpack. Okay. So as of right now, you have to go one by one. You cannot upload simultaneously into every kid's backpack at once. All right. So that being said, on this presentation, the rest of the presentation, you've got closer look at those backpack skills. So kind of what we were talking about before, if you're confused a little bit about what these might mean, these are, you've got some audio and video here, or audio and descriptors here of what these skills mean. So prepared and resilient learner, being ready for a certain task and not giving up. So this is your one where it's I try again, that kind of thing.
So that matches, just real quick, Russ, if I can interrupt, Deborah or Debbie, I'm not sure which way you'd like to call
Deborah's
it.
good.
Okay, Deborah. So for example, with literacy, I'm a primary person, kindergarten, definitely not 3 and 4 year olds, but with what Russ just said, you're trying and trying again. My kindergartners were, trying and trying again to either write their letters, learn their letters, read what a letter is, identify a letter. That is an emergent, that means, like he just said, that they're trying again. So that is they're prepared and they're a resilient learner because they're not giving up. Okay. So, and it's a different way to see things, but that kind of gives you a little bit of an idea. And I know that Diane said they would be helping with the URLs, the way that you align your WS data, but I don't know if that helps at all.
Yeah. And we have kindergarten teachers that put this into more kindergarten friendly language. And so that's something that happens a lot too, is they're like, our students might not know what an effective communicator is, but they do know, I speak clearly and I get my message across, or something like that. But yeah, emerging innovator, I create new things, that kind of thing. Globally and culturally competent citizen, work well with others, productive collaborator, and so on and so on. And then at the end of this presentation, there are some different ideas for backpack artifacts that you can do at school. So these are different examples that our colleague Becca Reynolds has put in here. And then also backpack artifacts at home, because it's important to know that backpack doesn't just end at school. Backpack is meant to be a kind of a working collection of stuff that kids have done throughout their academic careers. We've had kids put stuff in their backpack. If they're an Eagle Scout, for example, they'll put that into their backpack. And so you've got different stuff there that might go into a student's backpack for those success skills. So lots of different examples here throughout this presentation. And then we've got some troubleshooting or tech issues that we want to talk about real quick as well. Stephen, do you want to talk about that?
Yes. Hey, everybody. Stephen Durham here, Zone 3 Innovation Lead, working with Russ. And I'm just going to talk to you about, if you do encounter technical issues, what you can do. So first of all, as Russ and Kathleen mentioned earlier, there are 3 ways to get to the backpack. And sometimes due to Google issues, Google updates, one way might stop working for a bit. And so the best way to work around that is just try the other ways. So as Kathleen mentioned, there's the JCPS quick links. You just go up to the favorites bar on your browser, click on quick links and go to backpack that way. You can also go to your Google Drive, Waffle, then backpack. And then you can do a direct link is backpack.jcps.me. So if one of those ways isn't working for you, try out the other way. I know we had some issues going on yesterday when the Google Drive Waffle backpack option was bringing up an error, but that the other ways did work. So that's always one way to try. And then if you go on to the next slide, we can talk about what else you can do. So just basically troubleshooting 101. If you have any problems with the device, restart the device. That can fix a lot of your issues, whether it's a Chromebook, PC or even an iPad. Just hit the shutdown on the iPad and restart it, because sometimes a setting might have gotten triggered or messed up or it's just frozen. You want to make sure your device is connected to JCPS wireless. Sometimes it might be a network issue causing the problem, and sometimes when the network goes out, your device might bounce to JCPS guest or even possibly another wireless network that you really don't have internet access for. So once you restart the device, check and make sure it's connected to the proper wireless network. If it is a Chromebook and it's experiencing issues, which it sounds like you all will be working with iPads, but if it's a Chromebook, there's directions there where you can power wash the Chromebook. It just takes a couple minutes, and it basically sets the Chromebook up like it's a brand new out of the box. So any settings that got messed up, you can just revert it to that original straight from the factory setting. Also, there's directions there, a short video showing you how to update a Chromebook. Sometimes, Chromebooks, Google is constantly sending out updates, and Chromebooks get updates. And sometimes you might need to force one of those in order to get everything to work okay. And then the great thing is JCPS employees, we do have tech support. You can call 485-3552 or submit a help request ticket at jcps.me/help.
Excellent. And so those are the some troubleshooting issues that you might want to look at if you have some if you do encounter that spinning wheel, for example, or if you get an error message with the backpack. But remember, first things first, students must log in and accept terms of service to activate their JCPS backpack. That's probably the number one thing we encounter when teachers say the student's backpack is not working. We find that the student has never logged in and accepted terms of service. So that's important and must be done first.
If I can present you with a visual of that, just picture an actual backpack, and the teacher is trying to put things into that backpack, and the student has never unzipped it for the first time. They got to go through that. I accept people to put things in my backpack. I accept Google to work with my backpack. And then once they do that, normally that resolves most of the issues.
Okay, I'm seeing a lot of hands. Sharon, what's your question?
Okay, my question is, now we're going to be picking students to participate in this backpack. Is that what we're supposed to do?
Yeah, I'm not. So Diane, what exactly is the backpack pilot? Is it going to be with certain students?
Right. So you choose, I believe it's up to 5 students.
Is there any criteria that we should be looking for when we pick these students?
Teacher choice.
Okay, that's what I need to know.
All right. Natalie, did you have a question?
Yeah, hi. I know that you said that they must log in and accept the terms of service, but you also said to go ahead and add everyone like to the roster. Do we just need to go in for the kids, the 5 children that we're picking, and accept, or do we need to accept the whole roster?
No, so it's just if you're just those 5 children, just those 5 children will work.
Okay.
Yeah, so you don't need to do the entire roster.
Thank you.
Yeah, you don't have to do it. Someone asked that earlier, and I said you can. It's not going to hurt anything, to go ahead and roster them in. But no, you don't have to.
Yeah, but yeah, only those students who you care about getting stuff into their backpack. Brittany.
Do we have to have parent permission for them to participate in the program?
No, if they have permission, they sign. Well, they should sign the student handbook, and when they enroll their students, all of this is put inside that digitally.
All right, Natalie.
This may have already been answered. I'm sorry, but as far as what you guys are looking for the artifacts, I know with a lot of the upper grades, a lot of it's going to be student work.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of what we do is like learning through play and stuff like that. Are these just pictures? What exactly are you looking for the artifacts for our kids?
And so Diane and them may be able to answer this better, but honestly, that's why I showed you the photo thing with iPads. Is I think a lot of this is going to be pictures, to be perfectly honest.
Okay.
But Diane may be able to elaborate on that.
Right. And what we're trying to do is take the things, Natalie, that you're already doing, because they're going to fit naturally into the backpack. So we've divided it into 3 different backpack worthy artifacts that we actually model from larger JCPS. And we're going to show you like the things you naturally do with Big Day, work sampling. And we even tinkered a little bit with that making and tinkering book, the STEM, that you could take some pictures and apply that. So the idea is just to make it as natural as any other assessment that you would share with parents.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right, Regina. Regina, do you have a question?
Oh, she's muted.
Here I am. Sorry, thanks. I have some artifacts now that the children have already done. Can we use some of those, or we have to start from a new date?
No, you could absolutely use those. Yeah, you could absolutely use artifacts that have already been created.
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I think more of the criteria, Diane, and correct me if I'm wrong, when they meet with you, more of these criteria questions, like how many and how many kids, are they receiving that from you guys at a separate date?
Yes, they sure are. But again, we're stressing that this is a pilot. So we, of course, we're going to go for quality over quantity. We want to make sure that you all are as comfortable and that it just naturally, I know I keep saying that, naturally into our curriculum as possible. It's not more, it's just.
That's a good point. Yeah, and that was the whole intention behind the backpack, was quality over quantity. It was not necessarily for kids to have 100 things in their backpack every year, but it was to have those quality artifacts every year. So that might look like I don't want to put out a number out there, but like just if the kids have 100 things in their backpack every year, I don't think that's not really the intention of the backpack. We've seen that before happen in schools, but that was not the intention. Is it Tammy Vincent? Do you have a question?
Yes, this is for Diane. Diana, is this eventually going to take over our anecdotal notes?
Not take over, but use in conjunction, because like Russ was just saying, you don't want all of your anecdotal notes stored in the backpack. It's just if you see something and you think that's noteworthy, you know what, this really shows what the child can do, or that's backpack worthy. Not everything is equal. We're still going to do it to help us assess children, but this is kind of the show off. Hey, okay, you know what? We really want to keep that.
The little extra.
It is. It's extra. I think and I think it helps too when teachers K-12 have had a time to internalize these success skills. And if you look at what we need to be teaching students as they get older, just them being familiar with, hey, when I was in Miss Vincent's class, now I'm in kindergarten, she talked about being that communicator word. We talked about collaborating. Those are important skills. And those are things that as you all talk to them and teach them about, it helps as they go up, because we know early childhood is very, very, very important with our kids with a lot of things. So we want to make sure to include you in this. Tammy, did you have a question? Your hand was up.
No, I didn't ask. it.
Okay. Sharon.
Okay, this is my last question. This is for Ms. Diane. How you doing, Diane? My question is this something that we need to wait as far as getting started until we have the meeting with early childhood? Or do we run through the gate right now and get started with collecting evidence and picking our students? Or would it be more beneficial for us to wait until after we have the PD meeting with you?
Well, actually, I know what a wonderful teacher you are, Miss Sharon. So I know after work sampling and the things that you've already done in your room, as you look through these success skills, you're going to already start thinking, like they were saying, effective communicator. Go ahead and start getting those ideas together, because I did a sampling on the training, but you probably could bring in even more, because mine is just quick examples. But yeah, I bet after we just did the work sampling, you have other things already in mind.
Okay, that connect to the, I'm sorry, and they supposed to connect to what's in the PowerPoint?
Well, we have two different PowerPoints going that I'm talking about. I'm sorry, I should have been clear. Right now, Kathleen and Russ are kind of like the how part of it, where I'm going to come in and kind of give you an idea of the what part of it.
That's what I'm waiting for, the what. I need the what. So once I get the what, then I'll be ready. Thank you.
There we go. Yeah. So think of us as the technical side of this, of like, how do we get things in the backpack? And then you've got people like Diane that show you what should go in the backpack. Brittany, you have a question?
Yes. So is this something that I could start with, like one of my 3-year-olds that I'm going to have for 2 more years so that we can see the progress as they grow?
Yeah, so
Absolutely.
that's a great idea. Let me go ahead and show you that. You in the backpack for every student, they've got something where it says academic year, S year 21, SY 21-22. You can change that and flip back in time and see what students put in their backpack years prior. Now, remember, this was a kindergarten class a couple years ago, so they probably don't have anything back too far back. But every time you go back a year, you would see what was in the backpack in that student the year prior. So, yeah, so you've got different academic years that you can toggle through, and you can see what kids have had in their backpack in prior years.
And as they get older, they have a folder in their Google Drive that will house all that too. So anything you put in here, it's also it goes with them. So someone asked in the chat if this was starting next year. No, the pilot is we're starting the pilot now. We're showing you the technical way how you access the backpack, and then we'll continue to work with you. You know, we're instructional, we're teachers, so we are instructional. We're just a little bit techie too. So we'll continue to work with you on how to get more and more better quality artifacts throughout the pilot. But I believe when we meet next time, so when we meet in, I think Rena changed, I think it's December 9th maybe or 6th. The next time we'll have a Q&A session for you if you have questions. We want you to come to that here in a couple weeks with your students' backpacks being created. So that means following these few steps in the slides that Russ gave you today, logging in as a student and accepting those agreements for those 5 students that you, so if you want to go ahead and think about your 5 kids, that'd be great. And then you can accept their backpacks before we meet again. And then that way we'll be able to dive in on next steps. Does that make sense?
Yep. Deborah, do you have a question?
Yeah. So, are the kids getting access to this? Like, are we trying to get these kids to submit their own work, or is this going to be more teacher heavy? Because a lot of my kids don't have the Chromebooks. They were given back, and we haven't redistributed them yet. So I'm trying.
Yeah.
And you're telling us that we need to have the kids
Well,
accept the terms.
So when I say I'm going to be, I have to say this correctly. The kids accept the terms. If you have to help the kids accept the terms, then you're going to need to help the kids accept the terms.
So pretty much get on my computer with them, log in with them, and have that work out that way. Because like I said, a lot of my kids don't have computers at home.
I understand. Oh, I know. I understand. Yep.
Right.
And then you don't have them there. Totally get it. So however you as a teacher can make that work, you know what's best for your kids. You can help them to go in and accept those. Did I say that?
But this will be teacher heavy, correct? Like we're not going to have the kids try to submit their own work just yet.
Right. Absolutely. And that's where we need your feedback, because Russ and I have never taught 3-year-olds before. We've taught 5-year-olds, but we haven't taught 3, we're elementary. So we've taught 5-year-olds, but, and even with 5-year-olds, some of them, yes, they are logging in and practicing, but like you said, they have a device assigned to them. So yes, this will be teacher heavy. And really right now, I think the important part is for you to understand these success skills and get used to how that relates to early childhood. And then this is the digital platform that will hold all that stuff.
Yep. Andrea, do you have a question?
Yes. So I was just, thinking like in my head about my students that I was going to choose to participate. Do you want like a range of students, or would you prefer the ones chosen to be like the ones that are like on track for kindergarten?
Diane, can you answer that?
Well, I guess what Russ was saying about 3-year-olds can also be chosen, that it's kind of showing growth for the year. We used to do old-fashioned portfolios where we actually had a folder and we would put the samples of work and literally hand it to the next year's teacher. So I would keep in mind what would be relevant to that next year's teacher. If you put something in there that would already help her understand a child's level, that's what's more important than just having a child who's in the enrichment area or the ready with support area. What would be meaningful to that teacher?
So would I like try to use for students that are like nonverbal autistic or?
Well, and that's what I was saying earlier, that this is really a teacher's decision, that when it comes to the portfolio, what child do you want to highlight this first time through? I would have to say, to give yourself grace this first time, make it as easy on you as you can. In terms of getting your evidence and getting it uploaded, because a lot of it is going to be the mechanics of it. You know, your teaching knowledge will come in pretty quickly, but it's the mechanics that could really slow you down. Did that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I was just over.
No, that's a great, no, you're not. That's a great question, because to really eventually all kids, whether they're, autistic or struggling or whatever, they have a backpack. Churchill Park, their teachers help them with everything. And they all have, their defenses are great. And that kind of leads me into something that I put in the chat. There is and actually, Diane, we probably need to revisit to make sure, but in the teacher backpack, which is just, it's resources. We call it the teacher backpack, but it's resources. There is an early childhood teacher backpack. And I put the link in the chat with the early childhood. The reason I put that there is because there is a section for the backpack. And so there are just defense examples and more information on success skills if you wanted to look at that. So that's a resource for you. And like I said, it's just called the teacher backpack, but it's not, just there's one for every grade, every content that's taught in the district. And in the bottom left corner, it says backpack resources. So you can get to it. Russ, there you go. Thank you, Russ.
Yep. So.
Or you can also get to it from there. Thank you. It's also right there. Yep.
It's right here, teacher backpack. Yep. So yep,
on the right side. On the right side. Yep, there you go. And then that explains the purpose. But if you click on slide 2, in the bottom left corner, those are all resources around the backpack, and we update those pretty regularly. Same thing with the racial equity and the guiding resources across all. So some of that is your information for early childhood, but the bottom is the backpack. So that's a good resource for you to keep in your toolbox. Well, thank you guys so much. We really appreciate you jumping out there and agreeing to do something that might be a little scary or the unknown. And we need your help to help others in the years to come. And also, we're doing this for kids. So we really appreciate it. I put in the chat, maybe I didn't. If you are not sure who your digital innovation leader is, we are by zone. So that doesn't mean anything to you. I'm aware of that. I just put in the chat a link that will take you. And if you scroll down and know your hub or your center, that will give you your innovation leader on that sheet. So I think for mine, like I have George Unseld, Maupin, and McFerrin. So you would contact me. Rebecca has Hazelwood, Dawson, Ormond, Duval, and then Russ is Westport Early Childhood, Norton Commons, Tully, and AR Kennedy. So if you fall underneath those, umbrellas, cohorts, centers, we are your person if you have questions. But your homework is to choose those 5 students and follow Russ's instructions on the slides and help them accept those permissions. That's pretty easy homework, right?
Yep.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. And like I said, this will be posted to our channel here within the next 24 hours. So thanks, guys.